everyone wants the instant gratification and the reward, but in reality, tell God to give me more of that shit those pussies avoid. Understand that if you have a goal and you say you're going to do something and then you don't do it, to avoid the work and to only want the reward just goes to show how much of a bitch you are. So if you set a goal for yourself and then you comply with the standards to achieve that goal, and then you break to the standards that would have rewarded you with the goal because you wanted the reward of the goal before you had to actually put in the work, well, guess what? You're a bitch, and you need to admit that shit, and then you need to operate accordingly, because every time you broke to the standard of following through to achieve whatever you said you were going to accomplish, to set out and actually go deep into the trenches of the fucking concrete jungle and earn that shit. Everyone wants to get shit handed and gifted, and everyone wants to seek a fucking handout, but no one wants to actually look in the mirror like a fucking beast, go out into the world and earn that shit. So every time you said you were going to do something and you didn't do it and you broke to yourself, was every second that we looked in the fucking mirror and earned that shit. When we were hungry, when we were cold, we wanted to get hungrier and we wanted to get colder. When the nights were so cold, we were shivering. Guess what? We got down, we did 500 push-ups, 1,000 push-ups just to get warm, and then we wanted it to be colder. So every time you broke where we did it, well, guess what? You're mentally inferior, especially since it's the same fucking circumstance. You're just too much of a bitch to handle it. So every time you make the excuse to get out of a certain situation or to expand beyond your boundary and to expand beyond your comfort zone and to do something to actually expedite and increase you as an individual, every time you said you were going to do something and you broke to it, was just to go to show how lousy of an individual you are, how much of a bitch you really are, and how much of a breakable, easily bendable, always conformable piece of shit bitch you are. So confront the individual in the mirror, because personal development begins after personal confrontation. But if you can't confront the individual you always hide from when you try to reality escape and you try to scapegoat and you try to put your problems and responsibilities of life onto other people, and you always try to lie yourself out of what you need to do, which is confront that individual. Every time you pick up the weed, every time you pick up the smoke, every time you pick up the bottle, it's you escaping yourself. And guess what? Pussy, you can't fucking escape. So you better figure out some shit to get you through it by becoming the individual you always needed, instead of hiding like a pussy bitch who never actually understood that life as a man, life as an adult, has responsibility, and to not bear that responsibility is to be a barren bitch. So make the choice to actually align with the higher causation, which is by being a better individual, to not go back on your word, to not fold under pressure. When we were being compressed, all we did was expand. You have to understand how diamonds are formed. When they are deep into the earth, they form through massive amounts of compression. Now, if you can withstand the compression, well, guess what? You turn into a diamond, you transform. But most of you guys conform and then remain less, and then you guys blame everyone else but yourself. You have to understand that you, as the experiencer of your life is a reflection of you. So every time you made the negative choice, well, guess what? Your life is going to be a negative reflection of you. So you should start making the positive choice, not because you feel like, oh, positivity. It's because you fucking need to. I mean, look in the mirror and confront that bitch before you try to make an excuse to get yourself out of that. Every single day, we woke up with massive amounts of attention, pulling on space and time, with the willpower to go out into the world and to always dominate ourselves, to concrete our will into the universe by going out into the world and setting forth what we said we wanted to do, and we did it. So every time you did it, bitch, guess what? You're mentally inferior. You need to confront the individual that you are. You need to join the Self-Development Center, link in the description, and you need to start developing yourself, because if you don't develop, you're going to remain underdeveloped. And if you remain underdeveloped, well, guess what? Your life is going to be less than the best. And development, the whole purpose is to be the best in every fucking endeavor. So when it's time for the workout and we're repping out like fucking monsters in the gym, brute savages, alleviating ourselves and, casting this auric field of fucking vibrant energy that is primal, domineering, and, rage that is, our thoughts. You have to understand that your brain and heart cast out an electromagnetic field, and that's why when you get into someone's vicinity, you can sniff out if they're a piece of shit or if they're actually a good person. When you get close to that weirdo and you feel that negative energy reverberating from his fucking heart and brain, his electromagnetic pulses from his heart and brain that cohere with each other are expounding into the universe, you are literally reading what he thinks in his mind that coheres to his heart. as his magnetic field. And so you have to understand that you have a, sixth sense, your subconscious mind, and so you're picking up on that field. And so when we're in the fucking gym like beasts, everyone's picking up on that energy. So every time your girl is looking our way, well, don't get mad at me, get mad at yourself, because you're too much of a bitch to actually do some shit, to be some shit, and to actually grow into the individual you need to be. And that's unattractive, especially since you only live once, and development is the only path of life, and evolution is the only solution. So you should probably solutionize your fucking reality instead of remaining incompetent, stagnating, low-level, inbred bitch. Now, guys, link in the description, one-on-one mindset coaching. You guys need to develop your mind. You need to be an unbreakable individual. You need to have a will so powerful. You need to have imperialistic willpower. And the way you're moving in reality, in the way you are directing and correlating yourself to specific outcomes that are worse for yourself. Every time you made the negative choice, you made an outcome worse for yourself. You put yourself in a worse predicament than you should have been in. And you made the choice to do it. And then you pretend like it's not your fault. What the fuck? You are a bitch. You are factually a bitch. When we evaluate you from what the fuck you put your energy into, you are a bitch. If you are not productive from the moment the sun comes up to the moment the sun comes down, you are a waste of space on earth. You have to understand that time and energy is the only resources for you to actually do some shit with your life. If you're wasting the only resources to actually do some shit with your life, if you're not channeling time and energy through your attention to place yourself in a specific outcome for your life that you only get once, you are wasting your time and energy. Thus, you are a waste of space on earth, because you are wasting the only thing that you have to actually be, something on earth. So you are factually a waste of space on earth if you're wasting your time and energy. And, when you're in a negative predicament and you do nothing to do, be a positive individual, to understand that you have to, kick in the gears and, speed up, you have to actually look around and say, what the fuck am I doing with my life? And the moment you do that, now you can actually fix the problem. Most of you think you don't have problems. You go around in life smiling and living in denial like you're not a fucking bitch that is getting his back fucking bent over and fucked in the ass by circumstance. I mean, guys, you guys are failing at being organisms every time you pick up the fucking bottle. So every time you pick up that bottle, that drink, that smoke, that vape, remember that the monkey's sober and fit. And if you're not sober and fit, bitch, you're failing at being a fucking monkey. So remember that you only live once, and time is decreasing as I speak. And are you going to allow yourself to be a waste of space on earth? Is that what you believe you're worth? Because if that's what you believe you're worth, bitch, you're worthless, and we could give a fuck about you, because you don't give a fuck about yourself. So give a fuck about yourself, and maybe you could amplify your worth, you worthless, valueless piece of shit, inbred fuck. Peace!